Hello YouTube, this is Prodigious back at you again. I have something here that I believe, I'm not really sure if it would qualify as jank, probably more as rogue, but again in the comments, why don't you tell me your thoughts? Otherwise, I just like to know so that way I know whether or not to classify this under a future playlist of Jank Rack's Junkyard, or if it's strictly just a rogue deck that just keep in my playlist. But anyway, what we have here today is a very simple deck. This is Marsmon. So let's take a look and see what he wants to do. Alright, so first up, our first rookie is going to be 2 copies of Gizmon. He has the inheritable of when attacking, once per turn, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. Great for taking care of those floodgate cards. Then, we're running a floodgate of our own. We're running Gatsumon. All turns, players can't play Digimon by effects. Then, we have 4 copies of something very simple. We're running 4 copies of Starter Deck 1 Agumon. He has no effect on him except for his inheritable, and that is your turn, this Digimon gets 1000 DP. Then I also have 4 copies of BT11 Bearmon. Now what he does is inheritable, your turn, once per turn. When this Digimon attacks target is switched, this Digimon gets plus 3000 DP for the turn. So as you can see, we're building up to just have a lot of DP, and for good reason. As a little bit of utility, we're going to run a Kakatorimon at 4. It's a simple Digimon. It only evos for 2, and we can hard play it for 4 if need be. And it has jamming. Now on to the last 4 of our champions. We have Grizzlymon. Now this guy has Raid. Raid is when this Digimon attacks, you may switch the target of attack to one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with the highest DP, as well as an inheritable of your turn, once per turn. When this Digimon's attack target is switched, this Digimon gets plus 3000 DP for the turn. Now on to the ultimates. I'm running 4 copies of BT14 Triceramon, and he again has Raid, which makes sense because we have all these DP increasing effects. So we want to be able to, number 1, ensure the fact that we can swing into security outside of an option card blowing us up, of just not having to fear something hitting us back. And then Raid will help allow us to have a little board control and take out some of our opponent's stuff. Then we have 4 copies of BT11 Grap Leomon. He has Raid, as well as the inheritable of your turn, once per turn. When this Digimon's attack target is switched, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So now we have a little more aggro in terms of defeating the actual opponent, and not so much their Digimon. Then our Megas, as you can guess, we are running 3 copies of Marsmon. Now what he does is he does have the Raid mechanic. He also has when Digivolving, Blitz. Blitz says if your opponent has 1 or more memory, this Digimon may attack. So if you evo into this and you're unsuspended, Even though the memory has gone over to your opponent, this guy will still swing. He also has your turn once per turn. When one of your Digimon attacks target is switched, unsuspend this Digimon and gain 1 memory for each red tamer you have in play. So he has the ability to have a little bit of some refund for that slightly high Evo cost. And then last, as a backup Mega to go beside him, I'm running 3 copies of Starter Deck 7 Shine Greymon. He has Security Attack 1 and he has Piercing. So that Piercing will allow you to go ahead and still hit the opponent's Digimon and still hit security while doing it, on top of that extra Security Attack +1 for a little more aggro. Now that has been our Megas. Now we're going to take a look at our Tamers. I'm running 3 copies of Hiro Akamakanoa. If I'm saying his last name wrong, I'm sorry. I'm just going to call him Hiro, just so I don't butcher that no more. He is a memory fixer. He comes from BT8. His effect is, when you attack with a Digimon that has Gamamon in its name or level 5 or higher, you may suspend this tamer to have one of your Digimon gain plus 2000 DP. And then the last tamer we have for this deck is 2 copies of Tai Kamiya from BT14. He has, start of your main phase, one of your Digimon with vaccine trait gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. A large majority, if not all, of these Digimon in this deck are vaccine, so this effect will go off without a hitch. He also has your turn when a card is removed from your opponent's security stack. By suspending this tamer, gain a memory. Then we have our option cards. I'm running not 1, but 4 copies of Flame Memory Boost. Now, that might be a lot for a simple option card just to give us Security Attack Plus, but that's okay because we need some early game aggression, as well as the fact that it is a Memory Boost card, which means later on we can just pop it and gain 2 memory. Then I'm running 2 copies of Gaia Force. Just simple big removal. Its effect is to delete one of your opponent's Digimon. Security effect is to activate the main effect. Then, to help us out against those pesky security control decks, I am running 2 copies of A Delicate Plan. Its main effect is one of your Digimon gains. This Digimon doesn't activate the security effects of any cards it checks for the turn that may or may not have been errated to only be option cards. I could be wrong. Security effect is to add this card to your hand. Either way, yes, it is there to do what it's supposed to do, and that is to give you basically protection against those pesky option cards, aka security control decks. And then last, I thought this would be fun to try and put into this deck. I'm running 2 copies of Brave Shield. Now this is a hefty cost of a card, and yes, you could probably even make do by running, I forget the name of it, basically the black plug-in card, because it would cost the same and pretty much do the same thing, but I like this one. This one is unsuspend one of your Digimon until the end of your opponent's turn. That Digimon gains blocker. That's pretty much all it does. Brave Shield also has a security effect of unsuspend one of your Digimon and one of your Digimon gains blocker. So it's pretty much, it's written weird, but it's basically the same as the main effect. So yeah, you're going to be swinging a lot with this deck. You're going to have high DP. You're going to have that raid. So sometimes just to pass turn, play this, give your guy a blocker, unsuspend him, and now he's sitting there, hopefully with still a DP boost for the turn, but if not, at least he's still unsuspended and has blocker. And I can't really pick up a specific egg to use this deck, but probably if I had to guess, I'm going to say just go with the Koromon from BT14. Just because it has a built-in effect that just says whenever a card is removed from your opponent's security, you will draw a card, which means if you're hitting their security, you draw a card. If you're hitting a Digimon, you're not drawing a card unless you have that inheritable from Grapleomon that says you swung, you hit something, it died, you didn't. Security got removed, draw a card. You know what I mean? But anyway, that is it for this deck. So tell me what you think. I know some people have combined this deck originally with, I believe it is Birdramon and Garudamon, the birds. You can do it that way, but I feel like just trying to go all in on the whole just big DP security attack. Just keeping it simple, basically. No need to make it too complex with all those bird on deletion effects. Because believe me, that deck is coming. But anyway, this has been Prodigious, and I will see you next time.